Live from New York. It's a show that is wishing Travis Kelce, or you know what I like to call him, Mr. Doritos. First things first. Today,
wishing him a happy birthday.
I'm going to lose my mind.
Why?
Go ahead. Just go ahead.
That's the coach of the team.
I understand.
And a great offensive mind.
Yeah. What's the question, Wildes?
Do you agree or disagree with Kyle Shanahan?
I disagree with him. You guys remember the Broncos, like late 90s, early 2000s? How it was, whether it was Mike Anderson or Orlandis, Gary, whomever it was,
give him the ball.
They had a running back, they had a system. Stink was a part of it. The zone blocking scheme that was plug and play. And oddly enough, you know who coached that team, right? Yeah. Kyle's dad, Mike. He made a system that made any running back look great. And now Kyle, as the league has evolved and it's become more of a passing league, has taken that torch from his father and made a system that can make almost any quarterback look pretty damn good. And I feel like, Brew, I'm going to lose my mind. Because if I had told you a year ago, when we would fight tooth and nail about Jimmy Garoppolo, like, all right, guys, here's the scenario. Jimmy's going to have statistically the very best year of his career, which is what last year was. His best touchdown interception ratio. For Jimmy G. His best touchdown interception ratio, his best passer rating. And then he's going to go to a team led by an offensive coach with one of the best receivers in football and immediately have the worst year of his career. He's missed a game and leads the league in interceptions. He has a worse passer rating right now than Justin Fields. And in his stead, we are going to take literally the last player picked in the draft, and he's going to have Jimmy G-esque numbers even better. If that scenario were to happen, guys, when we were arguing about Jimmy G, and I'd be like, hey, if that happens, will you guys agree? It's the system, it's the stars, it's the players.
Well, certainly a little bit of the system.
And instead, that scenario has happened, and people were like, oh, Brock Purdy, he's a star. He's Orlandis Gary. He's Mike Anderson. He's not Terrell Davis.
I was going to say,
he's not Terrell Davis. No. Terrell's a great player
but
in
he
that
was
system.
In that, right.
Right.
Okay.
When you are a great player in that system, you win league MVP as the running back, you run for 2,000 yards, your team wins Super Bowls. When you are just a guy in that system, you look really good. And so I'm just going to go crazy. Of course he's a system quarterback. Of course he is.
The honest answer, and I know y'all expect me to get up here and throw out the histrionics and Iowa Mafia and all.
Well, that's what you're known for these days.
The honest answer is it remains to be seen.
Okay.
I mean, real talk. Like, we haven't seen him outside of this system. We wouldn't have thought, Nick, because you brought up your scenario, and that's legit. But if you had said, we're going to put Brock Purdy in there, you probably would have thought, oh, yeah, no, he's not going to be able to do it. He's Mr. Irrelevant, okay? And people used to say this, you know this, about Tom Brady. First 3 Super Bowls, system guy. Then he got Randy Moss, like a really legitimate great receiver, and you saw him starting to put up these great numbers, and you said, oh, no, he's great in his own right. I think the fair critique is we don't know yet. But I will say this. We have seen this system fail with other quarterbacks.
Not with this
and you
much
can bring,
talent.
hold on. This guy was Mr. Irrelevant.
Here we go.
Nick Mullen, let me finish.
I know, but
Nick Mullen, C.J. Beathard, Brian Hoyer. And to some degree, Trey Lance, who completed 55%, not even 55% of his. Hold on. Because they had George Kittle. They had Kyle Juszczyk, a 7-time Pro Bowler. They had Raheem Mostert, who is looking great in Miami and actually looked good with the Niners when he helped them get to the Super Bowl. They didn't have Christian McCaffrey, but you know who did? Carolina, when they went 1-6.
Right, not in this system.
When they went hold on, but my point is this. We've seen the Kyle Shanahan system not work.
Yeah.
We've seen Christian McCaffrey not really have an impact on the team. Because last year, Carolina, 1-5 with him, 6-5 without him. Better without him. We've seen Debo, we've seen him without Brock Purdy last year, 5 starts. Debo Samuel was out for 3 of them. Still, they won and he played well. My point is this. We've seen the systems and we've seen these stars not make a huge impact on games. But then you put him with Brock Purdy, and now all of a sudden things are. I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes, but I am saying I don't have a graphic for this. But before Purdy last year, they were averaging 23.5 points a game. The offense, not with McCaffrey, but with Debo, with Ayuk, with Kittle, etc. Once Purdy's been in there, they averaged 32.6 points a game in his starts.
Yes, they've been unbelievable.
So I'm not going to sit here and say you can put him on any team and he's going to put him on his back and carry him. I'm not ready to say that. But I am ready to say he has made this team better, and the numbers bear it out.
This is where I do get a touch frustrated, because I feel like I, Wildes, am being painted as someone, either a hater or someone that does not want to give Brock Purdy his credit. While what I actually want is for everyone to receive the credit they deserve. I did a 49ers credit pie.
Oh.
Can I show it to you?
Yeah, let's see it.
For the Niners looking like the best team in football, I'll give 35% off the top to the defense.
Sure.
We don't have to go individual player by player. The defense is awesome. Actually, statistically, hasn't been quite as good this year, but I think that defense is awesome. I'm giving 30% to the head coach. I think he is that valuable on a game-in, game-out basis. I am going to give 15% to a guy who some people think could be the league MVP in Christian McCaffrey. I'm going to give 10% to the other stud skill position guys, Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle. I'm going to give 5% to the best left tackle in football and the rest of the offensive line, and I'm going to give 5% to Brock Purdy. Is that fair? Or do we just need to say, in an age of everything being about the quarterback, that Brock Purdy is the leader of this team? Of course he's not. That Brock Purdy is the biggest reason they're 4-0? Of course he's not. That Brock Purdy is someone other than a guy placed in the most ideal situation for every quarterback in the league? Is there? Let me put it to you this way: is there a single situation, Brew, that if every quarterback was free, and you looked around, and your pick, whatever quarterback you are, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, like, hey, you can go to any team you want. All going to pay you the same amount of money. Pick the team.
Oh, the team that the quarterbacks would want to go to.
Yeah. Would every player be like,
Well, as far as coaching, I want to go to Andy Reid.
Right. Okay, but you think the Chiefs
and they don't
have terrible
have receivers.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. The coach and the team all come together. You would pick the Niners. Everyone would pick the Niners.
Are one of the best teams.
Say it again.
They're one of the best teams, but Brock Purdy, don't diss Brock Purdy, though.
That's
serious. You are. You're saying you could stick Kevin Wildes in there 20 years ago, and he would be able to do this.
I'm saying you could put Kirk Cousins there, and they're better. I am saying
that.
Well,
how do we know?
I am saying that.
That's a figment of your imagination.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You always like, they'd be better. You put Dak, they switch teams, they'd be better.
Yes.
The guy's 11-0. Mm-hmm. Last week he went 20 for 21, and it was like the most aggressive completion percentage over 90%.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's like 8.6 air yards per attempt. So just thinking Ducks, like what do you want him to do to impress you? He's never lost. He doesn't throw interceptions, and he's aggressive and completes 95% of his passes.
I would like to. You know what?
He can't on the Niners.
No, that's not
because everybody else is so good.
That's not true.
What can he do?
I would like to see him, make high-level, tight window throws, which at some point he will have to. And you guys yesterday heard Micah Parsons say something that I disagreed with, and you guys were like, but Micah knows what he's talking about. Here's Micah Parsons a month ago on what he would like to see from Brock Purdy. I'll read it to you and see if it sounds like what I've been saying. There are still things we want to see from Purdy. Not when Purdy is winning, but when he's down. The adversity aspect of the football game is huge. Learning how to play from behind, learning how to play situational football. I'm not saying he can't do it. It's something we haven't seen yet.
But
is that not fair?
I want to see Floyd Mayweather pull himself off the canvas and fight.
That's a great point.
What am I supposed to penalize him because he can't knock him down?
No, but I would appreciate that you used the Floyd Mayweather argument before with Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And one of the things you said was great defense. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, Floyd didn't have someone coming in and playing defense for him. That was all. Boxing is a singular sport. Mm-hmm. And so
But it's the principle of what he's saying. He's saying you're punishing Purdy just because he hasn't And again, I think he has been in adverse situations. I don't think stepping into a situation where you're expected to win a
Different
Super
types of
Bowl,
adversity, right?
but it's still adversity.
Sure. Yeah.
And this guy is the best passer in the league in intermediate passes.
But do you think
10 to 20 yards.
Think he is?
No, statistically he is
right.
in that regard.
But
I'm saying I am not sitting here saying Brock Purdy can put a team on his back like Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, somebody like that, and carry them to deep playoff success. But I'm saying I'm not sure if that could happen.
I don't know why this.
Because the verdict is out. Here's something.
Looks like we're taking a trip to Mahomes Mountain. Sorry, we got to move on.
I thought it was a mistake.
No, it's a trip to Mahomes Mountain.
Wow.
If Brock Purdy were to win.
And it was also a quick push to us.
Yeah. Is he moving up the mountain? What does he need to do to move up the mountain?
This is what would have been a more appropriate graphic to show with the question of if the Niners win would have been the tiers.
Yeah, I agree. Because he could move up
Brock
the mountain,
Purdy can impress me in a loss. Brock Purdy can be unimpressive in a win. If the Niners are trailing in the fourth quarter, and Brock Purdy is under duress, and he goes and drives him down the field, they kick a game-tying field goal, and then Dak gets the ball right back and wins, I will come on here on Monday and say, that was damn impressive.
That's all you want to see.
What do you mean?
A late game drive to lead to a field goal. That's it? He hasn't shown you enough where something like that would make you go, oh my gosh.
I'm trying to give you scenarios where even in a loss, I would be impressed. Because I'm not a quarterback wins guy. So as far as whether the Niners win or lose, I don't want to say is not relevant to the discussion, but how he plays against a great defense that I think is going to be able to make him have to throw those tight window throws that have him under duress is going to be how I evaluate him. So, of course, he can move up, but he can move up in a loss, and they could win if Dak has an F game and he has nothing difficult that he has to do and not impress me. It's a team sport.
But if he completes 77% of his passes, throws for 2 touchdowns, no picks,
against
195 yards.
Against this Cowboys defense, I'll be impressed by that.
Because I'm feeling like from the things you said about him, I feel like the only thing, and obviously none of us would want this to happen, but only in like if McCaffrey, Kittle, and Debo get hurt, and Brock has to throw for 360 yards and 3 touchdowns and does it, that's the only way I think you might change your view of him.
That's not.
You might be impressed with something else, but that's the only way you would say, he really is a very good quarterback.
Listen, I watch all the games. I know, my pal Dan Orlovsky, tweeted that tell Nick to watch the games, and I
see that.
No, and I was busy trying to find the Justin Fields MVP footage, but I have watched the games. I really have.
You're not a quarterback wins guy.
And I just ask everyone on Sunday night on national TV to do what I said to do last week, which is when you're watching, when Brock Purdy drops back to pass, you can have 3 columns on your little sheet of paper. Yikes and wow. And the vast majority are going to be in that middle column, where it's like, that was clean pocket. Debo somehow has no one within 6 yards of him, pitch and catch, that I believe every NFL quarterback can make that throw. And then how many times does he make a throw where you're like, that is a high-level NFL throw? And how many times does he make a throw where it's like, oh, my God, Brandon Ayuk is playing defensive back?
Why didn't they just keep Trey Lance? Serious question. Why didn't they just keep Trey Lance?
Because 2 possible reasons. One is because Shanahan never wanted him. The other one is because you have to build an entire system. Of course it might make sense.
No, it doesn't. You're trying to win. If he wins with Trey Lance, nobody's going to say, oh, he didn't want it. No, you get credit.
Okay, the other one is that Brock Purdy might be far better than Trey Lance. But Trey Lance might not be any good, Brew. That's what you think Trey Lance is not any good.
I think Brock Purdy's better. I don't know what Trey Lance is.
I think it's pretty clear that
he's been better in this same system with these same players.
I think right now it's pretty clear Brock Purdy is better. But I did something a little unfair before the show. Not really unfair, but it went about the way I thought, which was I asked you guys, top of your head, name your top 5 receivers. If we were a Los Angeles show and someone was like, What more does Puka Nacua have to do to prove he's better than Jamar Chase? What does he have to do? He's got more yards. He's got more catches. Every game he's played, he's been productive. What more does Puka, you just holding against him his draft status? Of course. Yes. We are holding against him the fact that we watch the games, and no matter what the production is, we think there are a lot I better than him.
But I think we agree.
For the record, I did
and
name
Wildes, by the way, did name him after your five.
But in fairness, nobody's putting Brock Purdy in the top 7 or 10 quarterbacks.
Top 10?
Are we?
Yes. Absolutely.
Maybe top 10.
If we don't.
The bottom half of the top 10 are not half, but the bottom few fluctuates by the year.
The job is to win games.
But he's not.
The job is to win games.
Is he in the top 5?
Top 5?
See, that's what I'm saying. So, Brew,
I still just got to see it. But I'm not going to take credit away from the kid. My only thing is this. Right now, I'm not ready to say he's elite. And he can go anywhere, and you can just put the team on his back, and he'll carry you like a Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, those guys. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know if Mahomes can do that. Haven't seen it.
Well, that's true. We haven't seen
Mahomes on the Patriots, Andy Reid. So confident. Micah Parsons, limited at practice yesterday, was banged up during the Patriots game, but he still wreaked havoc. Here's the Cowboys' defensive numbers on the year. Opponents' points per game, only 10. I mean, that's ridiculous. Passer rating lowest, pressure percentage the highest, led by Micah. So, Nick, more likely to win the game, Cowboys defense or the Cowboys offense?
Yeah, I mean, if the Cowboys win, it's going to be because of their defense. Yeah. And by the way, in Purdy's starts, he's scored 30 in every, aside from the NFC Championship game, he's scored 30 in every game but 2. Seattle held him in the low 20s, and the Cowboys held him in the teens. It's his lowest passer rating. It is the only game that you look at that he actually played poorly in, statistically and just kind of eye test, was that Cowboys game. I don't think the Cowboys are built to win a shootout against San Francisco. By the way, I think in the last couple of years, the only team I've seen win a shootout or, really wreck San Francisco's defense was the Chiefs. Last year, the Chiefs were rolling. And so I think it has to be that the Cowboys' defense wrecks the Niners' game plan. I think it has to be.
Absolutely. I mean, you can argue the defense already has won 2 of their 3 games. The Giants, I mean, now the special teams got the first touchdown, but then the defense gets a big touchdown.
And the Patriots.
Yeah, and the Patriots,
well, Mac Jones won that game.
Right. And so I agree with Nick. I mean, look, Dallas's offense in their last 2 games against these Niners, they produced 3 touchdowns. All right, so it's going to be the defense. They have to stop that 30 points a game and bring that way down the defense on the Niners offense. So, yeah, the defense is going to be the reason they win if they do.
McCaffrey. McCaffrey's doing everything. So they can stop McCaffrey. Something.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.